Hello everyone, Andy Wolverton here once again, continuing my journey through Kino Lorber's Film Noir, The Dark Side of Cinema box sets. Last time I talked about the second volume of the series, and today I'll cover what's in the third volume. Like that second volume, this set includes 3 Universal titles featuring several actors with solid noir credentials, such as Barbara Stanwyck, Dennis O'Keefe, Raymond Burr, Richard Conte, Colleen Gray, and more. So if we called Volume 2 the actresses at the end of their careers set, we could call Volume 3 the social commentary set, as we shall see as we go through these 3 titles. First up, Abandoned from 1949, directed by Joseph M. Newman, who also directed one of my favorite Edmund O'Brien films, 7-Eleven Ocean Drive, made just after this film. Newman also directed episodes of Alfred Hitchcock Presents and The Twilight Zone. His most famous film, though, isn't film noir at all, but science fiction, the science fiction classic This Island Earth from 1955. Now, right from the start of Abandon, you'll probably hear the musical score and think, I've heard that somewhere. That's because it's the same music, at least for a little while, from The Killers from 1946, also a Universal film. As Abandoned opens, we see a woman named Paula Considine, played by Gail Storm, walking into a police station at night. There's a man following her, but we don't know why. That man is Raymond Burr, so it can't be good, right? Paula has traveled to Los Angeles trying to find her missing sister. With the help of newspaperman Mark Sitko, played by Dennis O'Keefe, she discovers a shocking secret. I don't want to tell you too much more about the film, but you can get a pretty good idea from the film's poster and the title itself. Abandoned contains some nice cinematography by William H. Daniels, who always does a good job. The villains are maybe a little too cartoonish, but there are some great supporting players here, including Jeff Chandler, Mike Mazurki, Jeanette Noland, and Clifton Young as Eddie the bartender. Like the films in The Dark Side of Cinema Volume 2, we have a mixture of film noir and melodrama here, and a good amount of social commentary thrown in. Abandoned is a good late 40s noir that should get more attention, and I'm glad it's included in this set. The disc also includes a nice audio commentary by Sam Deacon. Next, The Lady Gambles from 1949, directed by Michael Gordon. Kissing a pair of dice probably doesn't do anyone any good, and certainly not Joan Booth, played by Barbara Stanwyck, as she gets knocked around in the film's hard-edged opening, which takes place in a back alley. This scene is a prelude to a hospital visit for Joan, which is a prelude to a trip to prison. Joan's husband, David, played by Robert Preston, pleads with the authorities to let him help his wife. He hasn't seen her in over a year, but the callous doctor, played by John Hoyt, sees Joan as just another person suffering from addiction. How in the world did Joan get this way? Allow me to introduce you to film noir's best friend, the flashback. So during the flashback, David tells the doctor the story of how this once happy couple took a fateful trip to Las Vegas. David is a writer assigned to deliver an article on the Hoover Dam, and while he's there, Joan decides to write an expose on gambling. When a casino proprietor named Corrigan, played by Stephen McNally, discovers Joan secretly taking photos of people gambling, he summons her into his office. Joan comes clean about the story she's writing, and Corrigan gives her some chips, telling her that if she really wants to understand gamblers, she needs to have some experience gambling. And we're off. Of course, we know that Joan is going to develop a gambling addiction, going missing for long stretches of time, while David wonders where she is. Russell Meddy creates some wonderful noir-stained moments, the best occurring when Joan pleads with Corrigan in his office for more money. There's also a subplot involving Joan's sister Ruth, played by Edith Barrett, the former Mrs. Vincent Price, that seems like it belongs in another movie, but it does have a purpose. While nowhere near as powerful as The Lost Weekend from 1945, a similar film about a different type of addiction, The Lady Gambles contains several good moments, and of course Stanwyck herself, who never disappoints. Look for a brief appearance by Tony Curtis as a hotel bellboy. Lastly, we have The Sleeping City from 1950, directed by George Sherman. Not to be confused with the 1956 film noir, City That Never Sleeps. The Sleeping City is a semi-documentary style film noir set and filmed on location at New York's Bellevue Hospital. A picture that exposes corruption among the hospital staff, including narcotics racketeers. This film stars one of my noir favorites, Richard Conte, as well as the lovely Colleen Gray. Now, the story begins when a doctor steps onto the roof of the hospital for a smoke and gets himself murdered. It's a very bleak opening that continues in that dark tone for much of the rest of the film. This is one of those undercover cop noirs like T-Men and Border Incident. But in this case, Richard Conte plays Detective Fred Rowan, who had some medical training in the war before becoming a cop. Rowan is asked to infiltrate the hospital staff as a medical intern to find out who killed the doctor and what else might be going on. And there's a lot going on. Rowan enlists the help of Nurse Anne Sebastian, played by Colleen Gray, but he can't tell her who he really is. Now, we know at some point Rowan's going to be asked to perform a medical procedure he's not prepared to perform. We also know that he's going to risk having his cover blown in other ways before solving the case. Now, George Sherman was an odd choice to direct this film. Sherman mostly made low-budget westerns for Universal, but he also directed Larceny, a film noir which will soon be coming to Blu-ray from Kino Lorber. The Sleeping City gave audiences a darker view of the police than they were used to, especially this early in the 1950s, but they would see much more of that as the decade progressed. This is also a period we're not used to seeing large-scale corruption inside institutions that are supposed to be caring for people. There's some nice suspense in the film, and Conte and Gray are both good. There's also a great audio commentary from Imogen Sarah Smith, and you should seek out anything she has to say about film noir. All in all, The Dark Side of Cinema Volume 3 is a pretty good set. Again, you could easily call this the social commentary noir box set, and as such, it delivers. By the way, all of the photos from the films themselves come from DVD Beaver, a great website you should consider supporting if you love movies. That's going to do it for this set. Look for a review of Volume 4 coming up soon. Thanks for watching. Please consider subscribing, and I'll see you soon.